For those here in the room as well as for those here on Zoom, welcome. Tonight looks a little different than it has throughout the rest of the session. Obviously, we have some people here in Coldest 144, which is a phenomenal privilege. We're really excited. We got some ring taps, something we haven't heard in a very long time. So we're very excited to be here. And in being here, we've got some guidelines that we're going to follow, and I just want to reiterate those here for everyone so that we know what we're following. Those who are in the room have already heard most of this by this point, as we asked them to get here a little bit earlier. But to kind of have these out for everyone to know what's going on. As we're entering the room, we have a specific walking path. The doors are also specific to specific times. So we're having everyone enter in from this side of the room over here. And then we're asking that they exit from this side of the room when they're using the restroom or leaving the room during the meeting. At the end of the meeting, we're going to be dismissing people by rows out the back doors directly out of Coldest 144, not back into the lobby. At 8 o'clock, the doors in Coldest are going to shut. So if you do need to use the restroom or you need to take a second to step outside, please make sure that you're exiting through this door and using these restrooms right here and not the restrooms in the main lobby of Coldest, as those glass doors to the SGA portion will be locked after 8. Something that you can see is that everyone, whether they're virtual or in person tonight, is on Zoom. The purpose of that is to make sure that everyone is able to participate equally and to make sure that everyone is included in debate and motions and as we go throughout the night. So everything that has worked for the past several months as far as voting goes, as far as hand raising goes, as far as motions go, questions, everything is going to be handled through the Zoom chat and through the Zoom features like raise hand tool, just as it has for the previous meetings of our session. So none of that is going to be any different tonight. We're not reinventing the wheel. We just have people in different places than we usually have them. One of the things that we're going to be very strict about tonight is maintaining social distance as well as mask policies and guidelines. One of the things that I want to make very clear is that this is a privilege, and so we have to treat it as such. If we are not following those guidelines, we can be called out of order for not following those guidelines for those here in this room. We're also adhering, just as we are virtually, to the strict dress code here in person. Other than that, as we go throughout the meeting, I ask that everyone in the room remain in their seats. If you need to talk to a senator who's also in this room, please still use the chat function or use anything else that you may use to communicate on a normal basis. But do not get up and walk to them and talk to them in person in that way, as congregating is something that would break the social distancing guidelines. The other thing I want to address is, as you all know from our previous meeting, Speaker Pro Tem for Spur has officially resigned her role as Speaker Pro Tem for. And so for this meeting, Chair Hein is going to be filling in per code in that Pro Temp role until we do elect our new Pro Temp. So know that as we go throughout the night, if you're wondering why Chair Hein is functioning in multiple roles and being incredible in that way, it's because that's what the code says when the Pro Temp does step down. Other than that, that's all I have for these opening remarks. I do want to make sure that I leave time for questions here at the beginning, as I know this is a new format. Are there any questions either virtually or in the room? And again, anyone who does have a question can utilize that raise hand tool regardless of where you are. Well, fantastic. Then I will assume that all of those guidelines are going to be followed and that everyone got everything that I just said. And so with that, we will conclude that period of opening remarks and move into a period of opening roll call led by Chair Hein.
Alrighty, guys, howdy, Senate. Interim Pro Temp Hein here. So that opening roll call Google form should open up in a second, and it'll be open until 7:18.
We'll go ahead and give everyone a few minutes to fill that out, and then we'll move on, and it will stay open as interim Pro Temp for Hein did say until 7:18. All right, once again, that form for opening roll call will remain open until 7:18. That does only need to be filled out by our senators, whether you're in person or virtual tonight. Only our senators will need to fill that out. But we will go ahead and move into our next period, which is a period of invocation and the pledges of allegiance, led by special guest Caitlin Brown of the Wesley Foundation.
Howdy. If y'all will, please bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this time that we have the privilege of meeting and gathering together to discuss all the things about our school. I thank you for this semester and how you have shown up in more ways than I am able to count. And I thank you for each member of the Senate and in the audience here today, and that you would, that you just so graciously love us without asking anything in return. Thank you for all of their dedication and their joy in what they do. I pray that at this meeting you are glorified and are able to guide each member in displaying humility, honesty, and love. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Okay, thank you so much, and we will ask you also to lead our pledges of allegiance, but I did just want to make clear for those in the room, you are able to stand and face the flag for these pledges of allegiance. Caitlin, you do stop the floor.
Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for the Texas flag. I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Fantastic. Caitlin, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Again, as I say every week, it is a genuine pleasure to have guests from across campus come and share and lead us in an invocation as well as the pledges of allegiance. So thank you and have a fantastic rest of your night.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
With that, we will now move into a period of the reading of the mission statement and Aggie Honor Code, led by our longest serving senator, Senator Wood.
Howdy, Senate. I wish I had the podium one last time, but I don't. It's a pleasure to be back in Columbus. So the Texas A&M mission statement says, Texas A&M University Student Senate represents all students in order to enhance the Texas A&M experience within our university and our communities through research, legislation, and advocacy in accordance with the core values of our institution. The Aggie Code of Honor states, an Aggie does not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do.
Senator Wood. And with that, we'll now move into a period of the singing of the spirit of Aggieland. Just for the sake of having it, Pro Tem Hine, I believe your screen sharing.
I believe here it is, yes.
Director Margaret. Say that again.
I'm gonna try this on my computer.
But the soul remains so grand. There's a spirit in every soul. It's the spirit of Aggie land. We'll be Aggie to each other, Aggie. We got to fight, boys. We got to fight. We got to fight for green and white. After they pushed it all away, they will come and join the we're the Aggies, the Aggies that we're the Texas A&M school.
And with that, before we move into our next period, I would like to recognize Chair T with a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Chair T, Finance. I call for a special order presentation for vote of no confidence after the approval of the Senate minutes.
Do I see any seconds? And seconding can happen in the chat as well. Seeing objections as well as seconds, we will move forward. The process of the special order as explained to me from Chair Hine, acting as the Rules and Regs Chair and not as the pro tempore in that moment. Was first and foremost, it's not debatable. However, we will have a period if there's anyone who would like to make an amendment to the timing. That is something that can happen now. So if you'd like to make that amendment, go ahead and type amendment into the chat. And with that, seeing no amendments to be made to the special order call, seeing one amendment, Chair Syed.
Chair Syed,
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Yes.
Since the time of the amendment had passed, his motion is not under to amend.
Seeing as it is on Zoom, I am going to grant this just because the timing can be off. And it was only a couple of seconds that I seen that as I was speaking. Chair Syed.
considering that we have a lot of legislation today, I need to postpone this motion to the end.
Do I see any seconds? Seeing both seconds as well as objections, we will now vote on this amendment to postpone the special order to the end of the meeting rather than happening after the minutes. With that, we'll go ahead and move into the process of voting. All those in favor, please select yes on Zoom. All those opposed, please select no. And we are voting whether or not to have the special order be at the end of the meeting instead of at the proposed time of after the approval of minutes. Chair Feldman with a point of information.
Chair Feldman, Legislative Relations. So are we voting yes if we want it at the beginning of the meeting, or yes if we want it at the end of the meeting?
So yes is if you're in favor of moving it to the end of the meeting, and in favor of the amendment. We'll go ahead and give 5 seconds more to get votes in and finalize those. We're going to go ahead and close that there with the final count of 24 to 21. That does pass. Get to do that now. So that special order call will now be voted on whether it should be at the end or not happen at all, since the timing has been amended. So with that, we're going to clear votes. All those in favor of having a special order added to this agenda tonight at the end of our meeting, so after open session, before committee reports, please signify by clicking yes. All those opposed to having the special order, please signify by clicking no.
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Chair T.
My motion was to place the special order right after the minutes. The amendment, the move at the end was already voted on.
Pardon?
No, it was.
The
Wasn't, okay.
the amendment did pass.
Oh, okay.
So with that, again, you can continue voting. And we are voting on whether or not to have a special order after open session. We're going to close that voting, and by a vote of 25 to 16, that does pass. That special order will be added to the agenda after open session. With that, we will now continue into a period of open forum led by interim pro tempore Hine.
Alrighty, County Senate, we do have interim pro tempore Oh my goodness, that's really hard to get in my system. Interim Pro Tempore Hein. We do have some open forums tonight, and we'll start off with Haley Hack, who is representing Big Event.
Hey y'all, my name is Haley Hack and I'm a staff assistant for the Big Event this year. The Big Event is the largest student-led service project in the nation. This is a day where 20,000 Aggies come together to serve the Bryan College Station community. Today, I would really like to encourage all of y'all to sign up to volunteer. Volunteer signups opened on November 14th, and you can sign up as an individual, with your college, with a group of friends, or with an organization. Our team has been working diligently with the cities of Bryan and College Station, the Brazos County Health District, and the University COVID Task Force to ensure the safety of both the residents and students participating in the Big Event 2021. Mark your calendars for March 27th, 2021, and join us in serving the Big Event this year. You can find more information by looking at our website, and that is also where the signups are. This year, it is super important to get involved and give back to the community because of everything going on with COVID. Thanks so much. And if you have any questions, you can ask.
Are there any questions for the presenter? Seeing none, Haley, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
All right, and our second open forum tonight will be Erica Pauls representing Maroon Coats.
That's correct. I would like to pause for a second to recognize Chair Side with the point of information.
All right, Chair Side Student Services, the point of order is for Senator Spur. Is it possible to turn on closed caption, please?
All right, Erica, if you want to continue or start.
Yes, for sure. So I did send a video and a presentation to the speaker pro tempore.
Give us 1 second to pull that up.
Do you want the video or the presentation?
Would you care for the video or the presentation to be screen shared?
Can you do the oh wait, what?
The video or the presentation first?
The video first, please.
species, everything and more about Haven. If you don't know what it is, say it is all the people in between, and that's basically that serves those people. That it meant so much to me, so I just cannot wait to dive in to serve the university and having to go visit the United States better to be in Nigeria in different ways and be very excited. The ability to use a brain, you have to know how to use it. And it's like all the time, great challenges to watch them from each of them and each experience.
Okay, well now the presentation.
That should be pulled up momentarily.
Perfect. Well, howdy Senate. My name is Erica Pauls, and I kind of just wanted to share that video just to kind of like give you all a glimpse of the organization. You know, this year we had our annual coding ceremony, kind of like we call it like a traveling code ceremony, which is super cool. So each of the exec staff actually came to our house and delivered our coats. So that was just an exciting moment that I wanted to share with you guys. But just to start off, who am I? My name is Erica Pauls. I feel like, you know, you guys are probably tired of seeing me, but I'm in class of 2021, part of Maroon Code class of 13, which is the latest Maroon Code class. The president of the Matthew Gaines Society, chair of the Peer Project, and as I always love to share, I'm a lover of chocolate-covered strawberries. So in the next slide, basically kind of our mission, which is the Maroon Codes enhances the Texas A&M Foundation's impact through ambassadorships, selfless service to help build a culture of philanthropy at Texas A&M University. By engaging with donors and friends of the foundation, we strive to communicate a deep sense of gratitude to those individuals who help ensure the ongoing future success of Texas A&M. So what exactly does that mean? Oh yeah, hold on, just go real quick, sorry. What exactly does that mean? What that means is that we really interact with donors and show them the best of A&M. You know, whether it be different tours for friends of the foundation or be big donors of the university, we really like to show them what our love for this university is. And I think through Maroon Coats, we've been able to serve the university in so many different ways. And I just thought that, I just wanted to share this opportunity with y'all. But yeah, next slide. How to join. So right now we have applications. Our applications actually open in December 7th and will close January 25th. And we actually just had 2 informational sessions last week, but we have 2 more in January. So please catch that. And we have our socials that will happen right after the applications. And then there will be a 30-minute interview right after that. So basically, why Senate? Like, why did I come to Senate to present, to share this opportunity with y'all? Well, personally, you know, just from the few Senate meetings I've been to, I can tell that there are so many talented and capable people in this room or on this Zoom call. So I think that there are so many people in this Zoom call that would make such a great addition to Maroon Coats. And I see that a lot of y'all have a passion for making this university better. And that's the type of people that we look for in Maroon Coats, capable, talented people who love their university and want to see it improve in every single day. And those are the type of people I see in the Senate. So I would love for you guys to apply. And if you have any questions, you can email me. My email is right there on the screen, or you can actually email the Maroon Coats external chair for any specific questions. Oh no, that was, Canva was being weird. Just ignore that.
Fantastic. Are there any questions for our presenter? Senator Martin.
Liberal Arts Caucus. To Mrs. Paul, real quick, when it comes down to the scope of what the Maroon Coats do, could you give us more of a brief example of how they serve the university in more of a specific manner, please?
Yeah, for sure. So a bunch of things that, a few of the things that we do is that we do give different tours to just like special donors to the school, or just, I guess, anyone who's earned like a type of scholarship that comes from the Texas A&M Foundation. We give them tours. We also host our annual student organization advancement conference, which is basically where we teach different student organizations how to raise money and how to really interact with donors. We get called to a lot of different events. I know we got called recently to Aggie Park, to the opening of that, and just to help around and serve the university in any type of way we can. And another big event that we do, which was in the spring, which I got the opportunity to help with as well, is called Legacy Day. And it was so cool. We basically invited donors that have given more than $1 million in their lifetime. And what we did is that we showed them the great projects that A&M is working on within the Bush School, the College of Agriculture, Architecture, and the College of Agriculture. And we basically just got to show them the best of Texas A&M and show them what our students are working on. And that's really what being a Maroon Coat is showing the best of Texas A&M to these donors, so they know that, wow, so they can feel good when they donate to our university and give to our university.
Are there any other questions for our presenter? Seeing none. Erica, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you, guys. Looking forward to y'all's applications.
Interim Pro Tempore.
Alrighty, and our last one will be Lily Piper, representing the SGA Diversity Commission. Sorry, guys.
Okay, howdy everyone. For those of you who I have not yet had the pleasure of getting to know working with, my name is Lily Piper, and I currently serve as the SGA's Diversity Commissioner. So I just wanted to really quickly come on here and to invite you all to an event that the commission will be hosting on Friday. So this Friday at 6 o'clock will be part 2 of our ongoing series, Maroon Table Talks, a dialogue about race and ethnicity. This part is going to be hosted by Dr. Joe Fagan from the Sociology Department, who is a renowned expert on race and racism in contemporary society. Part 1 was held last Wednesday by Dr. Brittany Perry, and it went really, really well, so we're very much looking forward to this week's conversation. Just as a really quick note, I wanted to add that this is a really unique opportunity to engage in such an important and necessary educational program and dynamic conversation with folks all across campus, whether that be your peers, your constituents, staff, faculty, administrators. We had an incredible mix of individuals from all across campus last week, which led to a really great way to learn and discuss and reflect with one another. So I would really like to encourage you all to be there and to join us. With that being said, registration is required. I'm not sure if I'm able to drop the link in the chat, but if I'm not, it is available on our social media pages, and I will make sure that you all get access to the registration link. So that is everything I have. I am open for questions, and I hope to see you all on Friday at 6 o'clock.
Presenter is open for questions. Are there any questions for our presenter? Seeing none, thank you for being with us here tonight, Lily. Interim Pro Tempore Hein, I do believe we have one more entry.
Yes, sorry guys, that was not on my list, but next we have Aaron Wood representing our own core values subcommittee.
Hi, Senate. Again, like I said, Senator Wood, I'm representing the Core Values Committee. Joseph could not be here tonight, so I'm taking the spot. But tonight, we are presenting our nominees. You all voted on them last week. And just a quick rundown, we nominated y'all voted for Courtney Osborne for the month of excellence. Just a quick rundown, she's a sophomore, aspiring to be an athletic trainer currently, and she is a leader in the Aggie Achieve program, as well as a competitive athlete in the Special Olympics, as well as in intramurals at Texas A&M. We have Courtney on here. If you would love to say some words of kind of your experience here at A&M and what this kind of award means to you, Courtney, if you're available, go for it.
This award means to me a lot. I'm actually a first generation Aggie, and just my grandfather was in the Corps. He was class of '55 and a commander. So just making him so proud and making my parents so proud, because whenever I was in high school, I always wanted to go to college, but I didn't know how. And Aggie Achieve got me this opportunity. And like he said, I'm super competitive. I love sports. I've been playing Special Olympics basketball in for Allen delegation since I was 8 years old, and I just love being an Aggie and just the opportunity being here.
Well, thank you, Courtney. We really do appreciate it. All you've done for Texas A&M, and we're glad you're part of the family. Thank you all, Senate.
Thank you, Senator Wood. As Senator Wood said, Courtney, congratulations on this award, and thank you so much for coming and sharing with us tonight. You're doing incredible things, and we're extremely happy to have you as part of our Aggie family. With that, I do believe that concludes open forum, and we will now move into a period of the approval of the 11/11/20 meeting minutes. We'll move to do this by general consent. So are there any objections to moving to approve those minutes by general consent? And again, as a reminder, throughout the night, if you do have objections to things, you can type those into the chat. And seeing no objections, general consent does pass, and those minutes have been approved. We will now move into a period of speaker pro tem for elections, and I would like to give Chair Hein a minute to explain the process and exactly how all of this is going to function as we go. After she explains the process, we are going to move forward into a period of nominations, and then from there into presentations and on and on. So Chair Hein.
Chair Heidel's regulations, not interim pro tem. So just to clarify, we'll go into a period of nominations. In the first period of nominations, you must, the nominees must have served in the previous session of Senate, whether that be fish aides, ex officio officers, senator, anything of that such. If we don't have any of those people nominated, we will then open up the floor to all current sitting senators. And Speaker McHugh will make that announcement. After that, each panel will have 10 minutes to speak, followed by a 5-minute question and answer period, just as we saw at the beginning of the session. They're allowed to have a character witness who can speak up to 5 minutes. After all of the nominations have presented, we will then go into a period of debate where they both step out of the room and off of Zoom. And then we'll move to a period of voting, which will be taken by a secret ballot. And then a majority vote, of course, to elect candidates. Does anyone have any questions?
Are there any questions for Chair Hein on any of those procedures? Seeing none, thank you, Chair Hein. And we are going to go ahead and move into that period of nominations. If you do have a nomination, the way that will work is just like many other things. You will utilize that raise hand tool, and we'll go in order of those who raise their hands. You can nominate yourself, or you can nominate another senator as well. Senator McKnight.
Senator McKnight, Campus Caucus. I would like to nominate Chandler Trousdale for Speaker Pro Tem.
Senator Trostclair, do you accept?
Yes, sir, I do.
Senator Nassus.
Senator Nass's on-campus caucus, I nominate Brogan Vina for speaking person one.
Senator Gunia, do you accept?
Yes, I do.
Are there any other nominations at this time? Seeing none, we will go ahead and close the period of nomination. And seeing as both nominations have served in a previous session, that will conclude nominations as a whole, and we will not go into that second round. With that, I am going to ask Senator Gunia to step out, as well as your character witness. This story. Yes. And with that, in order of nominations, Senator Trostclair, you will have the floor to begin your period of 10 minutes. You'll have 10 minutes at Howdy, and your character witness will have 5 minutes after that.
Howdy, Senate. Hey! Man, it is so good to be back. This organization, I might start off with this, has given me a lot of opportunities. And I encourage all the new senators and everyone in this room to stay in it. I've had fantastic friends, learned a lot from amazing people, fantastic advisors. And so without further ado, I'd ask for your vote to be Speaker Pro Tem 4 of Texas A&M Student Senate. Well, a little bit about me. I'm a political science major. I'm going to be a minor in military studies. I'm from Dallas. And my two hobbies are football and barbecue, and I couldn't decide which one I should put first. The fun fact about me, those two little fur balls up there, that's Carmel and Cleo. Carmel is very mischievous, and Cleo is 17 years old. So both of them love to drive me crazy. And in addition, I am a first-generation Aggie. Both of my parents and my entire family at this point, including my little sister up there, are LSU Tigers. Well, I have to say, given their football team's record this year, he had to take his national championship flag down from the front of the house. Counting down the days to that game. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry. Let's talk a little bit about my legislative record. I've been on since the 71st session, and I try to introduce and support as many legislations as I can. With a few of the highlights, in the 72nd, I helped Tate write the Aggie Core Values and Extraordinary Aggie Recognition Bill. I think that was one of the most important things we've been able to do as Senate, and I attribute a lot of the credit to him. In addition, I helped to work on Dallas Tornadoes resolution with a lot of other senators. And in this session, I worked with Pro Tem Spur on the Aggie Strong resolution and Chair Feldman on condemnation of anti-Semitism legislation. So what do I want to do as Pro Tem? Well, first I have to ask you all a question. What can we accomplish as a group? And the second question I want to ask you is, what issues bring us together? You see, I want to have Senate be mission-oriented. What that means is that we can look at some objectives and we can say, how do we execute on those? And the things that I think that can bring us all together, part of my math, is going to be COVID response, campus safety, and infrastructure issues. Now, before I decided to run for pro temp, I talked to a lot of different people. And they have different views on what Senate does, how it should work, and what we should do as senators. And the thing I heard very similar from almost all of them was the idea of campus safety. So the first thing I want to do as pro temp is go and work with all of IA and the entire Senate body to get a legislation passed to address those challenges every student faces. But aside that, I want to promote unity among everyone here. We're all Aggies. We all believe Maroon, and we have one common objective: ensure that the student body and the university is left a little bit better than the way we found it. And if we can achieve that, I think we've done a lot. So without further ado, here's my character wins. Tate Banks, 71st Senate, Pro Tem.
All right, howdy Senate. Very succinct presentation there, Chandler. So thank you for having me back. For those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Tate Banks. I am, I guess, an old Ag. I graduated in May. I'm currently living in exile from Aggie land up here in Dallas, Texas. And by the way, SVP Mendoza, I believe you still owe me a plaque. There we go. So yeah, so for those of y'all who don't know me, I was in Senate for all 4 years of my undergraduate experience. I served as the Academic Affairs Chair for the 70th session. I served as a Speaker Pro Tempore, which is the position we're talking about now, during the 71st, and as the Academic Affairs Chair again in the 72nd, before being supplanted by a much better Academic Affairs Chair, Mr. Sam Jeffries. And as a former Speaker Pro Tempore, I like to think that I have kind of an understanding about what the role entails, about what would make a good pro temp. And, you know, there's a lot of things that go into it. There's a lot of things that go into it. So obviously there's the clerical stuff, right? There's the calling roll, taking absences, printing bills, sending bills where they need to be. And, you know, that stuff's very important. And I have absolutely no doubt that Chandler Trosclair will do an incredible job with that, especially with the aid of your Executive Director of Operations, who, from everything I've heard, is just fantastic. But there's a lot more to the role of pro temp than just taking absences and printing bills. Per the code, per the way everything's set up, the Speaker Pro Temp has, to a very large degree, a lot of say over all of the internal operations of Senate. And that can mean a lot of things. That can mean personal individual development of senators. That can mean working with different groups and working with how they you know, interact and work as a team to be more productive and to get more stuff done. And, you know, for an example of that is that the Pro Temp is the chair of the Internal Affairs Committee. And, you know, that can also translate into, you know, taking these ideas for legislation that are kind of floating around and actually working toward, you know, getting them, you know, accomplished, toward actually writing legislation, toward having conversation with administrators and actually getting things done for the student body. And for all these sort of larger scale things, Chandler Trosclair is absolutely the guy you want to be your pro temp for the remainder of the 73rd session. When Chandler first called me up and said he was going to be running for the office of Speaker Pro Tempore, he went straight into his, you know, the things into his platform, the things he wanted to accomplish. And it's a platform that's identical to the one I ran on 2.5 years ago for the same office. So the thing about Senator Trosclair is that he's going to be graduating in May, right? So he's not doing this to position himself for a run for Speaker or run for SVP. He's not doing this because he wants it to look good on a resume. He's already been applying to grad schools. Like, it's too late in the game for that. Senator Trosclair is running for this position because he has a vision. And I believe that, as you kind of heard, his vision for Senate is to take these ideas, right? These ideas, this rhetoric, these conversations, this kind of energy that any good Senate has. It's, you know, kind of floating around in the air. And instead of just letting it dissipate, you know, all these good ideas that nothing ends up happening. Instead of letting it just kind of ferment and, you know, brew and sometimes boil over, and that's, you know, where we get people fighting and, you know, infighting and nothing actually being accomplished. Instead of that, he wants to channel this energy toward getting things done for the student body. From everything I've heard, the 73rd session has a lot of energy. And instead of just, you know, letting that energy sit around in the Senate room or on the Senate Zoom, kind of rhymes, he wants to actually translate this energy into good things for the student body. He wants to take these ideas and turn them into legislation. He wants to take these conversations and turn them into conversations with administration. He wants to take these instances where people maybe don't get along, or maybe people clash in Senate, and turn them into opportunities to see common ground and work on things together and actually, translate all that energy into getting things done for the student body. And I think that Senator Trosclair is the most qualified person to do so. As a senior, Chandler's been around for a long time. He first came into Senate in the 71st session. He's been around for 3 sessions now. He's seen a lot of great stuff. He was there when we actually wrote the bill that created the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, which Chair Ahmed has been doing an incredible job with, from what I've heard. He was there when we made the Student Rule 7 changes. He was there for the entire of the 72nd session. He was there when now SVP Mendoza did a lot of great work for the Legislative Relations Committee. So he's seen a lot of good leadership, a lot of good results, and he's also seen a lot of bad stuff. He's also seen a lot of not as effective leadership. He's also seen a lot of stagnant Senate. And I think that gives Chandler kind of a view on what makes a good pro temp, what makes good Senate leadership, and what practices can lead to actually translating, like I said, this energy into accomplishment. And another thing about Chandler is that it's not just about, the role. It's not just about what he's seen and how long he's been around. It's about who he is. So I know from my work with Chandler in the Senate that there have been many occasions when, there's been somebody who didn't agree with him on an important issue, or somebody who maybe even didn't really treat Chandler with respect, but he's reached out to that person. He said, let's talk. And he's met with this person, he sat down with this person, and he's formed a good, hardworking, respectful working relationship with this person, which is then translated into good things both within Senate and without, and for the greater student body. Chandler's the type of person who absolutely anybody, right? Doesn't matter if you're a brand new senator day one. It doesn't matter if you're like Aaron Wood and have been around since like 1950. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter who you are, what side of the aisle you come from, what your views and beliefs are. Chandler can work with you, and I think Chandler will. And I would like to say, and I'm sure this is going to spoil Chandler's evening, and I apologize for this, but if y'all do select Senator Trosclair as your pro temp, if you're a senator who has an idea for anything, right, for a piece of legislation or for a conversation you want to have with administration, or just to get coffee with a guy, reach out to him. Like right after the meeting, reach out to him and talk to him. And I can guarantee you that he will do his absolute best to see whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is you want to talk about. He will do his absolute best to see it through, and his best is typically good enough. So with that, I'm not in college anymore. I'm sure that college is, I wish I was, but I'm sure the college is pretty crazy with everything going on right now in the world. But I think that somebody with the ability to work together and get results, like Senator Trosclair, is the kind of person that you want to have. So, with that, I'm done rambling. Thanks for having me back, everybody. Mr. Speaker, I yield my time.
Are there any questions for our presenter? Senator Tillis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senator Tillis, Engineering Caucus. Senator Trosclair, you said a big part of your message in your presentation was unity. What are some concrete actions that you will take at Speaker Booker 4 to unify the Senate?
I think big one, my first objective is to have a conversation called IA and get everyone's input on how we're going to move forward in doing that. The second thing I'm going to do is I would like to task Student Services Chair as well as Rules and Regs Chair to begin working with other senators in the possible creation of a campus security subcommittee. Those two things I hope to do day one, and I hope to be able to start on those before winter break.
Chair Hein.
Chair Hein, Rules and Regulations. So I work with the pro temp a lot, so I know how much pressure is in. What leadership positions have you held, and how will those help you in tackling the extreme pressure that the pro temp is under at 24/7?
Thank you. Well, throughout college, I've had the opportunity to work with one of my college boards, and this past year and the year before, I was given a senior leadership position as a sub-officer. Prior to that, was I'm the captain for high school debate teams. I had a lot of opportunities to understand leadership. But I think one really important thing is that I had an opportunity to learn from someone who I consider one of the greatest leaders in American politics. When I entered under Congressman Dan Taylor, I saw how he interacted with individuals, and he's the type of gentleman that would rather break bread, not bones, and that's what I learned a lot from him, is how to work with other people. I think the politics being personable, relating to someone, talking to someone is the most important element.
Chair Syed.
Chair Syed, Student Services. Senator Trosclair, my question is, how do you plan to grow and improve and continue the work of the past attempts?
I think the way we can continue to grow Senate is to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to contribute to the conversation. I think everyone in this room should have the right and has an obligation, since you aren't here, to write a page in that Aggie story on how you want to leave your mark on this university. Quinton Spur is a good friend of mine. She's done a lot of hard work. I've known her for a long time. She's the type of person that always puts her best foot forward, and if I can live up to a fraction of the leadership she did and the hard work that she put in, I hope that would be the lasting impact on next year.
Senator Trostclair, as we do continue just for the room, I do have to ask that you stay in front of these tables as you answer.
Right.
With that, Chair Jeffress.
Jeffress, Academic Affairs. Senator Trostclair, have you met with the previous pro temp, and how do you think you can tackle some of the challenges she's faced?
Yes, I met with Hannah. I had a serious conversation on what's my expectations, how to execute those expectations, and the challenges she experiences. My first question with her is, what was the hardest and most challenging aspect of pro temp? I want to prepare myself for the worst case scenario and hope for the best. That's just kind of how I operate. But I want to execute to the best of my ability, and that's my pledge to you all. I will do the best I can.
Thank you.
Senator Nassas.
Senator Nassas on Campus Caucus. Senator Trostclair, how will you achieve the challenges of not previously being in the Executive Operations Committee?
Thank you. Well, first thing I'm going to say is I think that there are different ways to handle the issues that are currently there in the Executive Operations Committee. If you're talking in the context of IA and being a body of leaders and how to interact with different leaders, I think the first thing is having conversations with people. The second thing is getting ahead of the game. When it comes to the paperwork aspect and the elements of pro temp that require more of a computer-based skill or dealing with legislation or putting that legislation, I plan to get ahead. I plan to start working on that stuff before winter break, or over winter break, not let it pile up.
And with 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining, Senator Elbow.
Senator Elbow, off-campus caucus, how do you plan on engaging with administration, especially on some of your goals like COVID-19 and campus safety?
Thank you. I think the first step in engaging with administration is bringing all the relevant parties to a conversation here at Senate. The second thing is coordinating with the speaker and then the designated chair to talk to the specific campus leadership. Well, I think one thing that's really important from at least the standpoint of the way administration views things, they view things as a very bird's eye view. They sometimes don't see the little things that happen on the ground. It's important that we articulate those in a respectful, responsible manner, but also acknowledge the importance and necessity of what those changes are.
With 1 minute remaining, are there any other questions for our presenter? Chair Syed.
Chair Syed, Student Services. If you could name one weakness within the leadership that you are working with, what would that be?
I think my biggest weakness would be that sometimes I do get burned out on things. Sometimes I want to put 100%, and sometimes I get frustrated with myself sometimes. I think doing that means time management more effectively. And that also is holding myself accountable and encouraging my friends to hold me accountable. As pro temp, if I'm doing something that's incorrect, something that IA or members of the Senate do not like, please reach out to me and let me know what that is so I can execute on changing that.
Seeing as that is time, that will conclude our period of question and answer. Tate, I'm going to move you into the waiting room. Senator Trostclair asks that you exit the room that way after you grab anything that you might need, and then we will bring Senator Gunia back. I would like to recognize Chair Jeffress with point of information.
Chair Jeffress, Academic Affairs. Is it true you have to remain standing when we're asking a question?
Chair Hine is out of the room, but we'll get clarification when she comes back in. Chair Hine, just to refresh as we're going through the process of being in person again, Chair Jeffress asked a point of information in the room. As you're asking a question, you have to remain standing the entire time.
Yes.
So as we do ask questions, and we're shaking off the rust of being back in person, please remain standing as you ask the question, as the person is answering the question as well. Senator Dunia, you will have a 10-minute period of presentation followed by a 5-minute period of your character witness, and your 10 minutes will begin at Howdy. You have the floor.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
My name is Brogan Junior, and I'm speaking to you guys today in the hopes that you'll consider me for the position of Speaker Pro Tem. Okay, so a little bit about me. As I said, my name is Brogan Junior. I am a sophomore biomedical sciences major from Frisco, Texas. I am a first-generation Aggie hoping to attend veterinary school after graduation. And a little fun fact about me, as of September, I am a dog mom to my wonderful dog, Sugar, who is pictured on the right, as well as a picture with my 3 sisters. So my Senate journey began last fall when I became an ex officio officer through Fish Aids, which, if you don't know, is a freshman leadership organization through student government. And with that opportunity, I had the great opportunity to serve as a non-voting member of the Legislative Relations Committee. And also, I worked very closely with former Executive Director Gupta to really get a feel for every aspect of the Operations Committee. So what that looked like is during meetings, I would take minutes or I would run the computer. And then behind the scenes, I would work with Director Gupta to reformat legislation after it passed and work to have that scanned, sent out, stuff like that. And then also updating the Senate archives and website. And I love Senate so much as a Fish Aid that I decided to run in the spring. And I currently serve as the Director of Archives and Marketing within the Operations Committee. And what that looks like, it's a little bit different now with COVID, but I work closely with Director Marvitt and Pro Tem Spur to make sure that Zoom meetings run really efficiently. And I also still serve with Josh on the Legislative Relations Committee as well as the Coordinating Subcommittee. So here's a list of legislation that I've sponsored this session, but I want to draw your attention to SB 7304, which created the Director of Legislative Operations, served by Senator Smith over there. And yes, next slide. So if I were to become pro temp, my goals for the position are threefold. One, really increasing Senate engagement. I know being in the COVID era, it's really difficult to meet with constituents and tabling and stuff like that. But the way I see increasing Senate engagement is through really beefing up our social media presence. What that looks like is being consistent in our live tweeting during meetings, restarting the Facebook Live, and then having a really consistent Instagram presence where we could do senator spotlights, committee spotlights, things like that to be really clear with our constituents what we're doing and how we're spending our time and energy and how we're representing them, and then also using social media to encourage people to sign up for open forum as well. Also, as the voice of the student body, I feel it's really important for us to be transparent with our constituents. And so as pro temp, I would see to it that the archives continue to be updated as like the physical binders that are in the Senate office, as well as the Senate website. And also to increase efficiency as pro temp, I would also see to it that the drive continues to be updated so that you guys can better do your job and you can find the things you need to and have resources at your disposal. And also make sure, and work with the operations committee to make sure that the legislative send-out process is really efficient and streamlined, because it can be really easy to get bogged down in that. And it's really important that we have legislation that we create to be sent out so that people can actually read what we're doing. So that's all I have for you, but now you will hear from my character witness, Suyash Gupta, who was the Executive Director of Operations last year for the prior session.
Suyash, you have 5 minutes beginning at Howdy.
Awesome. Well, howdy, Senate. Hope everybody can hear me all right. It's always a tremendous delight to come before this body, and it's really great to see all of you again in the new session. And as I scroll through the pages of the Zoom call, I'm really glad to see many of the senators that I used to work with that are continuing to serve the student body amongst the pandemic. Well, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Suyash Gupta, and I served as a fish aide and senator in the 70th, 71st, and 72nd sessions of the Student Senate, and fulfilled the role of executive director in the 72nd session. So yes, I'm very old. But also, I am a senior public health major and business minor from Kingwood, Texas. And more importantly, I'm the loudest and proudest member of the Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2021. Hey, whoop! I really hope some people in Coldest 144 were able to do that with me. Awesome. Well, I am honored to speak as a character witness for Ms. Brogan Gunia as she runs for the position of Speaker Pro Tempore of the 73rd session of the Student Senate. As you all prepare for another year representing the student body at Texas A&M, it's really important to consider the goals and aspirations for this next year. As leaders of the body, you are the voice of change on this campus. You're the individuals that are able to make improvements, innovations, and change for the better of thousands of students that walk this campus or log into a Zoom call every single day. The position of Speaker Pro Tempore during this upcoming year is going to be very important and ever with today's climate. Throughout my time with Brogan, she has repeatedly demonstrated and embodied the 6 core values of this institution. I really believe that she is the choice to lead the 73rd session as Speaker Pro Tempore. As the past director of operations, I saw Brogan excel in her position and her passions. Through oversight in the operations committee, Brogan has always been very actively brainstorming ideas and ways to make improvements and access and delivery of Senate meetings. Specifically, she was very instrumental in helping the initial transition of Senate meetings to an online interface via Zoom back in March of this past year. What she might lack in age, she makes up for in her leadership and experience. In the 3 semesters that she has been in Student Senate, she has spent a countless number of hours outside of our normal operations, working with myself and former Speaker and SVP Eric Mendoza to print legislation, organize the Senate office, and other tasks beyond her scope. As a former senator and executive director, I know that Brogan is very capable of fulfilling the administrative duties that are required of Speaker Pro Tempore. Her confidence in and passion for helping others is like no other, and I always see her with a smile on her face, greeting others around the room and rising to opportunities that greet her. She's innovative and driven, and I believe that she will do a fantastic job at implementing the ideas and goals of her position to create positive change for this campus. With many challenges this body has faced, this is a time when innovation and organization are needed the most. Hundreds of students will be asking for help from our student leaders. Her goals of engagement, transparency, and efficiency will truly improve both operations and impact of the student body. I believe that the Senate body, led by Ms. Brogan Gunia, will do an outstanding job as she voices the concerns of many students. Please help me in supporting Brogan Gunia for the Speaker of Pro Tempore, and I'll yield the rest of my time.
Fantastic. Are there any questions for our presenter?
Senator Martin, Liberal Arts Caucus. Senator Gunia, when we're looking at the legislative agenda for the rest of this year, how would you work with senators from across the aisle to find some sort of compromise and work towards some goals that we could all agree on that represent our constituents?
Thank you for your question, Senator Martin. If I were to become Speaker Pro Tem, I would see to it that there is more cohesion within. I think the first step would be to create cohesion within the Internal Affairs Committee, because these are the leaders within Senate that are really spearheading a lot of legislative efforts and stuff like that. So presiding over the IA committee is one of the responsibilities of the Speaker Pro Tem. So yes, I think building positive relationships within IA is a really good step to accomplish that.
Chair Hein.
Chair Hein, rules and regulations. So you've had 2 really unique experiences in Senate, one being fish aides and now serving as a senator and on the Ops Committee. How will that help you tackle the upcoming year with the intense pressure of being Pro Tem? Because we know that the Pro Tem always is scrambling to get things done.
Thank you for your question, Megan. I think that the way that I observed last year versus this year is very different. First of all, that we were in person completely last year, and now we've been mostly online until today. And then, I don't know, I think my variety of experiences in different roles, especially within operations, has been very helpful in seeing, I guess, the different positions that people are at, and then having like an understanding of where people are coming from and frustrations and stuff like that. So I feel that I can use my experiences to empathize with people that are raising their concerns and yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for our presenter? Chair Jeffers.
Chair Jeffers, Academic Affairs. Have you met with the former pro tem, and during that conversation, what have you discussed?
Yes, sorry, I was thinking Connor Hall, but yes, I have met with pro tem Spur, and she went over the different responsibilities that the pro temp has, and I guess like what the weekly and daily responsibilities are that role entails. And from that conversation, I felt confident that I would be able to uphold the duties of the office. So,
thank you.
Are there any other questions at this time?
Senator Oldad, Community Relations. You obviously have a lot of experience with the technical side of kind of what Pro Temp does and a lot of behind the scenes work with paper trail and things that come with that in the project. Can you speak a little bit more to your experience, qualifications, and kind of goals with the other side of Pro Temp that's not as technical and involved with all of those aspects?
Permission for back and forth.
Granted.
When you say like the other side, could you like specify?
Just leadership in general, goals for next session, and kind of stuff that you want to bring into it. Just kind of experience in different leadership aspects besides just kind of running. Obviously, a lot of the stuff you did with fish aids and things like that previously was kind of, especially like helping Senate run it online. Just like other stuff besides that aspect of the program.
I think so. I guess my role in Senate, like in this year and last year, was definitely probably aired more towards on the side of operations and running things like that, which I think is a very important aspect of the duties that the pro temp upholds. But I feel also that experiences from other organizations that I've been a part of, like Fish Aids, and then also different leadership positions I've held, like in FFA in high school and stuff like that, has really helped me prepare for this position and like creating interpersonal relationships and being able to lead a team and stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you.
With 45 seconds remaining, Chair T.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Chair T, Finance. Senator Buna, how do you feel about making your transition from a largely behind-the-scenes senator where you're counting votes and filing paperwork to a much more visible part of the Senate life? Do you feel confident in being able to make that transition to such a
Yes, sir, I do. And I feel that the fact also that this transition comes with a good acclimation time during the break as well is really beneficial, and whoever gets the role and that they'll have time to really read those transition documents and reach out to people that would have really good prior experience and stuff like that. So yes, I do feel confident that I'd be able to discuss.
And as that is all of the time that we have for question and answer, that will conclude that period of question and answer. Senator Buna, can you please grab anything that you need and exit out to the left.
Thank you.
Right, and with that, Senate, you have heard from now both of our candidates, and so we will move into a period of debate. The way that this period of debate is going to work is that we will be debating first in favor of candidate 1, and then in favor of candidate 2. As you refer to the different candidates, please ensure that you refer to them by their numbers, candidate 1 and candidate 2, in order of their speaking. So Senator Trostclair would be candidate 1, and Senator Beatty would be candidate 2. And then we will go back and forth in periods of 45 seconds. We'll now begin with the period of debate in favor of candidate 1. And again, if you have debate, you can utilize that raise hand tool. Senator Spur.
Howdy, Senator Spur. Well, that feels weird to say. I want to clarify, I'm not speaking for either candidate. I'm speaking for both candidates. As previous pro tem, both candidates have met with me. And I can tell you right now, I know there are multiple people in this room that have looked to me and said, who would you pick? And I can tell you that either person that you pick is going to be phenomenal. So I'm not going to make a decision for you. I know people have asked, but what I want you to know is that both of these candidates are incredible. I am so blessed to have 2 fantastic candidates wanting to fill my position, and so I hope that y'all know the decision is up to you. I'm not going to weigh into it, but know that you've got 2 really fantastic candidates throw your name at this, and I just wanted to be able to say that because I know some people have asked questions, but no, they're both great.
I will have to stop you there, as that is the time in that first period of debate. We'll now move into a period of debate for candidate 2. Do I see any debate in favor of candidate 2? Senator Nassas.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
I just want to start off by introducing myself. I am Senator Nassas from the On-Campus Caucus. I am also a member of the Operations Committee. And I stand up here today to implore you to vote for candidate 2 for the position of Speaker Pro Tempore. The reason I say that is I have worked with candidate 2 now for 2 sessions. She is an amazing person with an amazing work ethic and will do great at this position. The reason that I implore you to vote for this candidate specifically is because of her experience in the Operations Committee. This is extremely important because this is a very important committee that does a lot of things in Senate. And just because some of y'all don't see it on the floor doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. And as someone who has taken a part in this committee for the first time this year, and being thrown into it and not completely knowing
Senator Nassas, I will have to stop you there, as that is time. And we will now move back into the next round of debate, beginning with debate in favor of candidate 1. Do I see any debate in favor of candidate 1? Senator Wood.
Howdy, Senate. Senator Wood, or Senator Wood, candidate 1 is a great dude. Obviously, as Tate said on the PowerPoint or on his presentation, that candidate 1 is doing this literally out of the willingness of his heart. He graduates in May, so he's not trying to do this to further his motive into Senate anyway. So I feel like that's kind of the more important aspect of it. Nothing against candidate 2. I encourage her, that candidate, to run in the future, as candidate 2 would do a great job. But for the time being, candidate 1 seems to be the most qualified in my eyes. Good friend. I yield my time to, I don't see the chat, the floor.
The floor has been yielded to. We will now move into a period of debate in favor of candidate 2. Senator Nassas.
Can I go back?
Yes.
Okay. Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
Okay, the other thing that I wanted to touch on is just that along with her, Senator Wood makes a great point about how they need to be wanting to live out the goodness of their heart. I don't know if you noticed in candidate 2's presentation, she is a vet major, and she doesn't have any interest in going into politics or doing this for her resume. She is so passionate about A&M and so passionate about Senate that she's doing this because of those passions, not because of any reason to further her resume. I yield my time to Chair Hein.
Chair Hine, Rules and Regulations. As someone who works really closely with the pro temp, I fear that, or I hope that her experience, candidate two's experience with being an internal member, and having that experience of almost being like pro temp with all the Zoom, will actually help her in
Chair Hine, I
transitioning
will have
into
to cut
this
you off as that
position. So I
is
encourage
time.
you to vote for her, candidate number 2.
We will now move into the third and final round of debate, beginning with debate in favor of candidate 1. Do I see any debate in favor of candidate 1? As a reminder, if you are online and would like to debate, you can utilize that raised hand tool. Senator Stabler.
Howdy, Senate. My name is Senator Staley, and I'm here to speak on behalf of candidate 1 simply because at the end of the day, pro tem board is a leadership position that, yes, it requires a lot of behind the scenes work and a lot of paperwork and a lot of very diligent, I guess, final things or paperwork type things. But at the end of the day, it is a leadership position, and candidate 1 has shown his leadership and grown in his leadership throughout the years that he has been here on campus in numerous ways, not only through Senate. And I think that that alone should show that he is the most prepared for this position and will be able to be more successful.
And that is the time in that period of debate, and that will conclude. Now move into debate in favor of candidate 2. See any debate in favor of candidate 2? And seeing none, that will conclude that period of debate, as well as the third and final round of debate. And we will now move into a period of voting led by interim pro tem for Hine.
Interim pro tem Hine here, guys. So that ballot should be opening up soon, and you will have until 8:25 to fill that out. Oh, I don't think so now. My bad.
It's on the drive.
You're getting to vote, right?
Yes.
Okay, then no, that's what's for this with everybody. They have their phones or something. Okay. On your glass. Look on your glass.
I went to push him up on my face. I didn't have
Do something useful. Focus on. But then. Got it. Let me get this 3.5 centimeters.
I see that.
Go, go.
Say that again. That's up to you. If you do come up here, we'll just stay 6 feet apart. But you can also sit there if it's more comfortable. I'll leave that to you.
I know, I love it. I'm literally sitting out there, taking it for God. You think they haven't never had this, but I know I would never be like,
Well, now we're actually gonna have someone repeat it.
yeah.
For them Zoom, you kind of just say it, and they're saying it hopefully, but who knows? Get him, Sam. Get him.
No.
Get him. Huh? I
I miss when the Chief Justice sat next to me.
With that, I am being told that we do have the vote count, so I would ask that everyone finds their seats and go ahead and take one. With that, interim pro tem for Hein, if you would please announce the results.
Yes, so we have the results. It's 28 votes for candidate 1, 27 votes for candidate 2, and then 1 abstention.
So with that, candidate 1 will be our next pro tem for. Please bring fans back in. Congratulations, Senator Trost Blair. I will now be sworn in by Chief Justice McIntosh. If you would please stand.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Chandler Peyton Trost Blair,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
the duties of the office of, state your office,
the duties of the office of Senate Pro Tempore
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
to uphold the honor of the same
to uphold the honor of the same
at all times to protect the welfare of the student body
at all times, to protect the welfare of the student body
and to promote good relations
and to promote good relations
between students
between the students
and those concerned with the university.
and those concerned with the university.
Congratulations.
Fantastic. I want to say well done to both of our candidates. I know that was a big step to make those presentations and to come in front of us for those elections. So well done and congratulations to Pro Tem for Trost Blair. Fantastic to work with you throughout the rest of this session. With that, we will now move into a period of unfinished business, beginning with the reading of SB 7306, the Student Health Fee Cap Bill. Chair Feldman, I believe you'll be presenting.
I am. I will also call the Natalie to the floor.
And as we are having 2 people on the floor, if y'all would please stay on the outside tables.
Yes, sir. Howdy, Senate Legislative Relations Chair Feldman here. We are going through the second reading of the Student Health Fee Cap Bill. Whereas 1, Texas A&M Student Health Services exists to advance student development and academic success by providing personalized and evidence-based healthcare to Aggies. And whereas 2, 70% of student health services funding comes from the Student Health Fee Cap, while the remaining 30% comes from the medical services revenue, such as medical office visits, ambulance runs, lab tests, x-rays, etc. Whereas 3, as the current student health services building, AP Butyl currently stands, internal renovations are estimated to cost $12 million over the next 5 to 10 years. Whereas 4, raised student health services funding is also needed for the hiring of additional staff to maintain and expand patient care, pre-existing services due to increased student enrollment. And whereas 5, in fall 2018, the student health fee increased to $75 per student, hitting its legislative cap. Whereas 6, the student health fee cap is controlled by the Texas State Legislature and was last changed in 1995 when the Texas A&M student population was just 41,790. Whereas 7, an increase in student health fee cap will also allow Texas A&M Health Student Health Services greater flexibility in future to adjust due to increasing student enrollment and the creation of necessary services related to COVID-19. Whereas 8, the Division of Student Affairs is engaged in numerous projects that will uplift our community and better the Aggie community. Whereas 9, following the extensive renovation on both the MSC and Ruther Tower, there was a $2.2 million loss in revenue due to COVID-19, according to the Division of Student Affairs. Therefore, let it be enacted 1. First, the student body and student leaders recognize the essential role that Student Health Services has on our campus in providing accessible, affordable health services to Texas A&M University. Let it further be enacted 2. Second, the student body and the student leaders acknowledge that the responsibilities of student health services have dramatically increased in the wake of this global pandemic. Let it further be enacted 3. Texas A&M Student Senate would like to request that the Texas State Legislature increase the student health fee cap from the current 75 to 200. And let it further be enacted 4. Texas A&M Student Senate would like to request the Texas State Legislature increase the university fee cap. And let it further be enacted 5. The legislative ideals within this document be regarded as the will of the Texas A&M student body, as well as the Texas A&M Student Government Association, and let it further be enacted 6. The Legislative Relations Commission of the Texas A&M Student Government Association is tasked and given the authority in advocating for this bill and the ideals outlined within it on behalf of Texas A&M student body. Man, it's hard to say this. Let it further be enacted 7. The copy of this resolution be sent to Michael O. Quinn, John Sharp, Michael K. Young, Dr. Daniel J. Pugh, Dr. Martha Dannenbaum, Michael J. Hardy, Dr. Bruce Herbert, Dean David Carlson, Cedric Matley, Josh Feldman, and the battalion. And we are open to questions.
Are there any questions for our presenters? Senator Chunga Pizarro.
Senator Chingo Pizarro, Off-Campus Caucus, can you remind the Senate what services the Student Health Services provide?
Yep. So Student Health Services provides many. So first of all, anything you usually go to Butyl, that is it encompasses just a fraction of what Student Health Services does. They also subsidize a lot of the medical care you get on campus, so it provides cheaper than if you were to go to a private physician. There are just a plethora of things they do, which is why it's extremely important that we have a higher fee cap, because they would not be able to keep the level of the quality and the volume of care they currently do at the current price.
And if I may add on that, obviously another factor that's important for students is mental health, which is also covered within their scope. And really the idea of raising the fee cap is it hasn't been raised in a very long time. And in order for the student health services to meet the demand of the student body, which has grown exponentially over the past 2 decades, just easily, it needs to be raised. And they're going to be under a lot of strain within the next coming years if we do not raise it. And then, obviously we're just raising the cap, we're not increasing the actual fee. But once the fee cap is raised, then we need to open up a discussion on actually raising the fee, which would actually help alleviate those strains on the system and can provide much better and much more services to the student body.
Yep, and something I'd also like to point out there, first of all, thank you, VP Malley. Second of all, the fee cap hit its limit in 2018. So if you want to know how long it takes for us to hit that cap, the last time it was raised was in 1995. So that's almost over 25 years since that fee cap was raised, and we just hit the cap. So it's not going to force it, when we say we recommend it to go up to that level, it's not going to go up to that level anytime soon. It's just to keep up with, obviously, inflation rates, rising medical costs, and all the other factors that go into it that make it extremely important that we advocate for this.
Thank you.
Chair Jeffress.
Is it true that Student Health Services provides emergency care via ambulance and standby at different events? Furthermore, also provide female health care at their clinic and free STI testing the first Wednesday of every month?
I believe it does.
Thank you.
Senator Martin.
Senator Martin, Liberal Arts Caucus. Does the Public University Fund from the state of Texas, does that help pay for any of this as well?
I do not believe it does, no, because the issue is, you could say, why doesn't A&M, we're a large school, we get a lot of funding, we even have a lot of donors, why don't we just, push some money over to Student Health Services? The issue is it's designated specifically for Student Health Services, and they're not allowed to just move money around like that. Student Health Services is capped with their fee, and they're only allowed to draw money from that fee. They cannot pull money from anywhere else. That's why you have to raise that fee. And obviously, as students, you may be upset, why are they raising the fee? Why would they raise the fee and then put a fee on us instead of pulling money from anywhere else? And unfortunately, that's just how the system works. If you have a problem, you probably have to go all the way to the Texas government and get them to rewrite the law. So, but within the system, that's how you get the money. That's how you get supply.
With 2 minutes remaining, Senator Farrow.
Senator Farrow, Engineering Caucus, does this raise, how much would affect tuition for students? It's gonna be like something drastic that affects, or because as I see the price is not that much, so I just wanna know.
Minimal at most, and I believe that the students would have to approve any major raise through student vote.
Right, and to go over the process again, what you're voting on here purely gives my commission permission to go and advocate at the state legislature to raise the cap, at which point, once the cap is raised, they have to come back to the student body and then get permission from the student body again to even raise it to a whole nother amount. And then the student body can essentially say, we want it this amount or that amount, and then that's where the negotiation happens. And once you reach that point, whatever that amount would be, that fee is like if you were to go into your tuition, bill pay, and all that, and all the fees are in there, it's a separate fee for your actual student tuition.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for our presenters? Seeing none, thank you. Your sheets. We will now move into a period of debate, beginning with debate against this piece of legislation. Do I see any debate against? Again, if you do have debate, please utilize that raise hand tool, whether you're in person or on Zoom. And then I would like to recognize Senator Farrow with the point of information.
Senator Farrow, Engineering Caucus, just a question. If I want to add myself as a sponsor of the legislation of anybody else, that will be a motion, right?
Yeah. So.
That is right now.
So what you do is take the floor and debate against, and then make a motion when you have the floor.
Okay.
And that floor is open. Would you like the floor?
Yes. Do I need to go?
Go ahead.
Senator Farrow, Engineering Caucus, I move to add myself and any other senator who would like to sponsor this legislation.
If you have seconds, you can use the placard, put it in the chat. Seeing multiple seconds, we will move by general consent to add Senator Farrow, as well as anyone else who fills out the form on the drive as a sponsor to this piece of legislation. Do I see any objections to general consent? Seeing none, that does pass. Senator Farrow, you do still have the floor.
I yield my time to the floor.
The floor has been yielded to you. We'll now go into a period of debate 4. Do I see any debate 4? Seeing none, that will conclude our first round of debate. And we'll move into a second round of debate, beginning with debate against. Do I see any further debate against? Seeing none, we will move into a period of debate 4. Do I see any debate 4? And seeing none, that will conclude that period of debate, as debate has become one-sided. We'll now move into a period of voting led by Speaker Pro Tem Forrest Rossclair in coordination with the Ops Director.
Thank you. All right, here we go. All right, the form is open. 8:43. We're close. We're close.
Speaker Pro Tem Forrest Rossclair.
form is closed, with the votes being 46-4 and 6 in abstention.
And by that vote, SB 7306, the student health fee cap bill, does pass. We'll now move on to the consideration of SB 7307, the appropriated funding bill. Chair Feldman, I believe you are the main presenter again. I would like to recognize the motion from Senator Wood.
Senator Wood, College Engineering, I move to consider this piece read.
Do I see any seconds? Seeing multiple placards raised in the room as well as some seconds in the chat. We will now move into a period of voting on whether or not to consider this piece of legislation as read. Basically what that means is that Josh will have time to present, Chair Feldman, excuse me, but he will not have to read the entire piece of legislation during that presentation period. So with that, we will go ahead and vote. All those in favor of considering this piece of legislation as read, please signify by clicking yes. All those opposed, please signify by clicking no. We're going to go ahead and close the voting by a vote count of 29-0. That does pass. That piece of legislation will be counted as read. Chair Feldman, you do still have the floor and presentation as well as questions.
VP Natalie, if you'd like to come up as well. Howdy, Senate. Chair Feldman, Legislative Relations. This is the appropriated funding bill, seeing as we're considering it as read. It's essentially opposing any budget cuts to higher education from the Texas legislature. It's, as we read in the first time, it's definitely something that we are opposed to, and we are open to questions.
Are there any questions for our presenters? Seeing none, that will conclude our period of question and answer. We will now move into a period of debate on this piece of legislation, beginning with debate against. Do I see any debate against at this time? Again, if you do have debate, you can utilize that raised hand tool to signify so. Senator Elbow.
Senator Elbow, off-campus caucus. I move to add my name and any other senators please want to pick up this bill.
See multiple placards raised and signifying a second. We will move by general consent to add Senator Elbow as well as anyone who fills out the form found on the drive as sponsors to this piece of legislation. Do I see any objections? Seeing none, that does pass. And so with that, Senator Elbow, you do still have the floor and debate against.
I yield my time.
The floor has been yielded to. With that, we'll now move into a period of debate for. Do I see any debate for? Seeing none, that will conclude the first round of debate. We'll move into a period of debate against. Do I see any further debate against? Seeing none, debate is one-sided, and that will conclude that period of debate. We'll now move into a period of voting on SB 7307, led by Speaker Pro Tem Forrest Roscoe.
Just double checking. Okay. The ballot is open, and 3 minutes from now, it will be at ballot. Let's take a picture. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, the form is now closed, 48 being in favor and 3 in abstention.
And by that vote, SB 7307, the appropriated funding bill, does pass. We'll now move into the consideration of SA 7303, the Election Regulations Reformation Act. Chair Hine.
Alrighty, howdy Senate. Kara Maxwell should be joining us as well. There she is. Hello, beautiful girl. Alrighty. So this is the Election Regulations Reformation Act. Kara, I'll let you take it away.
Awesome. So this act is really being presented just to reduce inconsistencies in the code and remedy some of the issues that we found here in the fall. Kind of the main, some of the main points of issue include how we define the requirements for what needs to be expensed and simplifying removing one definition of campaign material, because currently there are a few definitions in the rules and regulations, and that is a point of confusion that we had to navigate this fall and that we're hoping to remedy before this spring.
Kara, if you want to go ahead and read it word for word, please. While I fix Zach's computer.
Alrighty, so whereas 1, the official email address of the election commissioner is not currently included in the code, creating confusion in regard to appropriate means of communication between candidates and the commissioner. And whereas 2, there exists an inconsistency in the definition of the official start of the pre-campaigning period. And whereas 3, there remains a rule pertaining to the modified campaigning period, which is no longer a period that exists within campaigning. This rule should now pertain to general campaigning, the period extended to replace modified campaigning. And whereas 4, a rule pertaining to student organization communication is unclear in definition and provides no context for enforcement. And whereas 5, areas which have traditionally been considered restricted for the purpose of campaigning are not explicitly included in the rules and should be added. And whereas 6, there exists 2 definitions of campaign material, creating confusion in regard to the process of recording expenditures and ability to regulate certain campaign activity. And whereas 7, verbiage pertaining to the necessity of a co-candidate's submission of receipts for expenditures is misleading and inconsistent with other requirements for the submission of expenditures. And whereas 8, the title of Article 8 is not reflective of its content and creates confusion when navigating the rules. And whereas 9, proving a candidate's intent in the purchasing of materials as is necessary per the rules as currently written presents extreme difficulty, and the elections could be more clearly regulated if a change of criteria is made.
Therefore, let it be enacted 1, Title 5, Subtitle 6, Chapter 601, Article 1, Section 3, be amended to, at the official email of the election commissioner, canvaelection@gmail.com be added. Let it be enacted 2, Title 5, Subtitle 6, Chapter 601, Article 4, Section 1, Subsection C, Subsection 1, be amended by striking starting the Monday after filing closes, but before general campaigning begins. Let it be enacted 3, Title 5, Subtitle 6, Chapter 601, Article 4, Section 1, Subsection C, Subsection 2, be struck to say, to be amended by striking the first day of the Essence Spring to be capitalized. Let it be enacted 4, Title 5, Subtitle 6, Chapter 601, Article 4, Section 1, Subsection D, Subsection 4, be amended by striking to make campaign signs and shirts for modified and adding for inserting for general campaigning. Let it be enacted 5, Title 5, Subtitle 6, Chapter 601, Article 4, Section 3, Subsection D, be removed as a whole. Let it be enacted 6, Title 5, Subtitle 6, Chapter 601, Article 5, Section 2, Subsection E, be amended by inserting rudder fountain and rudder closet in between rudder buildings and classrooms. Let it be enacted 7, Title 5, Subtitle 6, Chapter 601, Article 7, Section 1, Subsection A, Subsection 6, be amended to reread as by striking as any items, services, or materials used or intended to be used in the course of campaigning or preparing for a campaign, and inserting by Article 4, Section 3, Subsection A. Let it be enacted 8. We're getting there, folks. Title 5, Subtitle 6, Chapter 601, Article 7, Section 1, Subsection F, Subsection 1. Be amended by striking may and inserting must. Let it be enacted 9, Title 5, Subtitle 6, Chapter 601, Article 8, be renamed from spending to auditing. Let it be enacted 10, Title 5, Subtitle 6, Chapter 601, Article 8, Section 1, Subsection C, be amended by striking both of them in the first line, and then would not be purchased but for the candidates running for election in the second line, and inserting meets the definition of campaign material as defined in Article 4, Section 3, Subsection A. And finally, let it be enacted 11, a copy of this bill be sent to yours truly, United High Rules and Regulations Chair. I think the most important part that I want to kind of stress about this act is that this is technically just kind of like a Band-Aid on a bullet hole right now. With the J-Court cases that were brought up for fall elections, we have an obvious flaw in the code when it comes to campaign materials. If we don't fix this now, we're going to have that used against us when it comes to spring elections. So if you do have any concerns going forward after the spring, we will be doing a whole election regulations look through to make sure that we can have time to thoroughly look through those regulations and fix them for the long term. But if we don't pass this, we're going to have issues in the spring with people using that loophole that we just found for spring elections. So. Kara, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would just kind of like to add on to that. As it's written in the code, the mandatory candidates meeting provides us the opportunity to make candidates aware of any notable interpretations of the rules as they're written. So while we are intending for the passage of this act to really just be a Band-Aid, we are already working and will continue to work prior to the spring to make it clear to candidates, what this change means to them and how we are going to navigate that. Some things that we're looking at are just, exploring after the spring, making large changes in regard to maybe adding additional prongs to our test of, requiring what things to be expensed and what not. But this is an ongoing conversation that we're having. And the fact of the matter is this, we just didn't have time with the way J-Court things played out in the timeline of our semester to really make drastic changes before the spring. So this is our best effort to do that. And we're continuing over break to really outline what our definitions of things will be as a commission, such that we present the most clear information to candidates in the spring.
With that, we are open to questions.
Are there any questions for our presenters? Seeing none, that will conclude our period of question and answer. We'll now move into a period of debate, beginning with debate against. Do I see any debate against? Seeing none, we'll move to debate 4. Do I see any debate 4? And seeing none, debate is one-sided and debate will now conclude. We'll move into a period of voting led by Speaker Pro Tem for Trosco.
Thank you. The form is now open. You guys have till 9:04, but go ahead and cast your votes. Mr. Speaker, the form is now closed, with the votes being 50 in favor and 1 in abstention.
And by that vote, SA 7303, the Election Regulations Reformation Act, does pass. that'll now conclude our period of unfinished business, and we'll move into a period of new business, beginning with the consideration of SR 7332, the recognition of local elected officials resolution. The authors and sponsors will come to the floor or ask to be unmuted on Zoom. Senator Wood.
I move that this piece of legislation be considered read.
Seeing an objection in the chat as well as seconds in the room, we will now move forward to a vote on whether or not to consider this piece of legislation as read. Again, the period of presentation still does happen. The legislation itself does just not have to be read in its entirety during that period of presentation if we were to move forward with this vote. And so with that, if you are in favor of considering this piece of legislation as read, please signify by clicking yes. If you are opposed, please signify by clicking no. We'll go ahead and give 5 seconds more to that vote. I would like to recognize the point of information from Chair Jeffers.
Through our second chairs, address the presentation to Chair Oleg.
Go ahead.
Chair Oleg, would you like for this piece of legislation to be considered read?
I genuinely don't have an opinion. It just means we don't have to read it word for word. We're still going to present and put all the necessary information we need to. So.
With that, I will go ahead and close the vote, and by a vote of 18 to 15, that does pass, and this piece of legislation will be considered read. Continue the presentation.
Howdy, Senate. This is my first time presenting. I'm very excited. So I know this election season has been very long, but this resolution to congratulate newly elected local officials of Bryan, College Station, and Brazos County, as well as encourage second and students to vote in the upcoming runoff election. Just is a resolution that the CR committee worked on together so that we can keep this relationship with CR and Texas A&M. Okay. So whereas one, the 2020 general election took place on November 3rd of 2020, including federal, state, and local elections and ballot measures. Whereas two, there were a total of 122,137 registered voters and 84,753 votes cast in Brazos County, with approximately 59.5% of registered voters in Brazos County voting early or absentee, many of which were Texas A&M students. Whereas three, Bobby Gutierrez is three.
I will have to pause you. I would like to recognize Senator Wood with the motion.
Point of inquiry, did we not vote to versus not read?
Chair Hein, since we did indeed vote, are they able to read the piece of legislation, or is that?
Chair Hein rules and regulations. So since it's their time to present and it's like their presentation, they can really do whatever they want at that time. But whenever that period of presentation is done, they don't have to read it, and it can be considered as read, but they still have the option to do whatever they want with their presentation time.
Well, you may continue.
I will continue. Lynn Adcock, District G4, were elected to the Bryan City Council, whereas 4, Bob Brake, City Council Place 1, Linda Harville, City Council Place 3, and Elizabeth Cunha, City Council Place 4, were elected to the College Station City Council. Whereas 5, candidates for College Station City Council Place 5 did not receive the necessary amount to secure a majority vote, resulting in the runoff election for John Nichols and Craig Reagan on December 15th, 2020. Whereas 6, Steve Aldrich, Russ Ford, and Nancy Berry were elected to the Brazos County Commissioners Court Precinct 1, 2, and 3, respectively.
We have Helen McCrossen. As part of our presentation.
Howdy. Whereas 7, Wayne Dickey was elected Brazos County Sheriff. Whereas 8, Earl Gray was elected Brazos County Attorney. Whereas 9, Christine Rowe was elected Brazos County Tax Assessor Collector. Whereas 10, John Brick was elected as District Judge of the 272nd Judicial Court. Whereas 11, Jarvis Parsons was elected as District Attorney of the 83rd Judicial District. Whereas 12, Julie Harlan, Single Member District 2, and Deirdre Davis, At-Large Place 6, were elected to the Bryan ISD School Board. Whereas 13, Thomas Hall, Trustee Place 6, and Geraldine Nolan, Trustee Place 7, were elected to the College Station ISD School Board.
Therefore, let it be resolved, 1, the 73rd session of the Student Senate would like to congratulate the newly elected and re-elected local officials of the City of College Station, City of Bryan, and Brazos County. Therefore, let it be resolved, 2, the Texas A&M Student Senate would like to thank and recognize these individuals for their service and hard work towards bettering our community.
Let it be further resolved, 3, the Texas A&M Student Government Association and the Student Senate Community Relations Committee look forward to continuing to work with the corresponding individuals on the local issues that impact Texas A&M students. Let it be further resolved, 4, the Texas A&M Student Senate and Community Relations Committee urges all students and individuals who are registered to vote in Brazos County to go vote, whether in person or via absentee ballot, if they will be out of the county in the runoff election for the College Station City Council Place 4 on December 15th, 2020. Let it be further resolved, 5, the Texas A&M Student Senate and Community Relations Committee sends our best wishes to Mr. Cornelius and Dr. Nichols and look forward to working with whomever is elected to the Place 5 seat. Let it be further resolved, 7, a copy of this resolution be sent to the City of College Station, and then all of those people, since it's considered for it. So basically, the reason we wrote this piece is to congratulate all of the local elected officials, kind of extend that collaboration that we have within the city, and as an awareness piece for those who don't know about the runoff election that is occurring on December 15th. So we see any questions.
Presenters are open for questions. Are there any questions at this time? Senator Jeffress, Chair Jeffress.
Chair Dark, Secretary of Affairs, Chair Oleg, when is the deadline for register for your absentee ballot?
The deadline to register for an absentee ballot, I'm getting clarification on this. It's not usual that the county is sending out absentee ballots, but I believe that the deadline will probably be next week sometime, since early voting does start the 30th. So it'll be either next week or the following week. But I will be getting clarification from the county elections office tomorrow, and I will be sure to tell Chair Oldag so that she can share that with the rest of the Senate.
Thank you.
Senator Smith.
Thank you, Senator Smith, Coles Caucus. My understanding was that the race for place 1 College Station City Council was between Bob Brick and Jason Cornelius. It was separated by 5 votes, and there was a petition for a recount. So would you be interested in possibly removing Bob Brick from his piece in case that were to change and doing that later?
That may, yes, but I'm not sure within the code how changing after it passed would work necessarily. I'm open to a amendment for kind of a clause the same way we had in the other piece about the runoff, also saying with the recount and having that kind of in there that way. I'm not sure on the rules of changing it after it's passed and how we can go about the code that way. So.
Are there any other questions for our presenters? Seeing none, that will conclude our period of question and answer. You may take your seats. We will now move into a period of debate, beginning with debate against. Do I see any debate against? Chair Ahmed.
Hi, Senate. Chair Ahmed, Diversity and Inclusion. Hi, Senate. Chair Ahmed, Diversity and Inclusion, Off-Campus Caucus. I have a motion. I'm to add myself and anyone else interested to be sponsored.
Seeing multiple topics go up in the room, we will, by general consent, move to add Chair Ahmed as well as anyone else who is interested and fills out the form on the drive to this piece of legislation as a sponsor. Do I see any objections? Chair Jeffress with a point of information.
Smith.
Excuse me, Senator Smith.
Mr. Speaker, Senator Smith, Coles Caucus. My question is, I guess my question would be for Chair Hine, if I was able to ask her.
Go ahead.
Am I able to move an amendment to remove Bob Brick from this piece of legislation?
Yes, so this police doesn't have to allow. Very great.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and again, if there are no objections to moving forward with general consent to add Chair Ahmed as well as anyone else who filled out the form found on the drive as sponsors this piece of legislation, then that does pass. Chair Ahmed, you still have the floor and debate again.
I do yield my time to Senator Smith.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senator Smith, the Coles Caucus. I move to strike from whereas item 4, Bob Brick, City Council, Place 1.
And if the ops team could reflect that change, seeing multiple seconds, we will move into a period of debate on that amendment. And we will get that screen share going in just a second.
Bob Brick, not John Brick, so thank you for asking more city council. There you
go. Now that that change has reflected, we will move into a period of debate, beginning with debate against this amendment. Do I see any debate against at this time? Dr. T.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Chair T. Finance. I moved the previous question on the amendment. And
do I see any seconds? Seeing multiple seconds as well as an objection, we will now move forward to a vote on whether or not to move the previous question. I would like to recognize Chair Oldham at the point of inquiry, though.
Point of inquiry, did you call for this question on the amendment or on the amendment?
Of the amendment and the resolution.
Again, we will move forward with a vote on whether or not to move the previous question on both the amendment as well as this piece of legislation, meaning that we would move to a vote first on the amendment and then a vote on the piece of legislation. With that, if all of those in favor, please signify by selecting yes. All those opposed, please signify by selecting no. And I would like to recognize Chair Syed at the point of inquiry.
Chair Oldham, is there a reason why?
Go ahead and address it.
Chair Oldham, Community Relations, I noticed another thing that.
I would like to recognize Senator Smith.
Howdy, Senator Square College. Off campus caucus. Chair Oldham is out of order. She's not wearing the
Seems that is correct. Really does stand out of order and will be asked to sit down. Senator Smith.
Is that not happening anymore?
Never mind. And so with that, we will continue on point of information from Chair Syed.
Chair Syed, Services, point of information. Chair Oldham, is there a reason?
Yes, Chair Oldham, Community Relations, there was another.
I will have to stop you for a second, Chair T.
Since the question, the previous motion, call the previous question is unavailable, points of inquiry should not be made to utilize today.
Seeing as that is correct, the chair is out of order and cannot be making points by point of inquiry.
Point of order. Or Chair Hamilton regulations. So, since it is a point of information and it's used to get clarifying information from one person to another, we can't really call it as it is debate. It's a simple question from one person to another, so it's not.
Seeing as that is the case, we will continue with the point of information. I would like to recognize Senator Wood in the meantime.
Senator William Collins, during point of inquiry.
Seeing as it is the exact same question and the speaker was called out of order, isn't that question null and void?
I believe not, because this was a point of information and previous was a point of inquiry. As well, it was the person it was addressed to who was called out of order and not the person raising the question.
All right.
I just wanted to say that I need to correct and make another amendment. If you want to call the previous question, great, and we want to get this passed. But I need to make another amendment for the correction of this piece as a whole. So I'd like to do that still as well. If we call it with qualifications, we cannot do that. So if we want to call it on this current one, that's fine. That's the reason I don't want it on with qualifications. Do with that information what you will.
So with that, we will resume voting. This is a 2/3 vote to move the previous question. And so you'll have about 5 more seconds to get those buttons pushed on which one you'd like to. We're going to go ahead and close that by a vote of 8 to 20. That does fail. And so we will now continue on with a period of debate in favor of the amendment to remove whereas 4, the portion of whereas 4 that labels Bob Brick City Council Place 1. Do I see any debate for at this time? Seeing none, that will conclude the first round of debate on this amendment. We'll move into the second round, beginning with debate against. Do I see any debate against? Seeing none, do I see any debate for? Seeing none, debate has become one-sided. That will conclude the period of debate. We'll now move into a period of voting on this amendment to strike the portion of whereas 4 that says Bob Brick, City Council Place 1. All those in favor of this amendment, please signify by clicking yes on Zoom. All those opposed, please signify by clicking no. We will go ahead and conclude that period of voting, and with a vote of 35 to 0, that amendment does pass. We'll now continue with a period of debate against, resuming the period of debate against on the resolution as a whole. Senator Smith, I do believe you have the floor in debate against.
I yield the floor.
The floor has been yielded to you. We'll now move into a period of debate for. Do I see any debate for? Rise to take your point of information.
May I make an amendment if I'm an author of this legislation?
Chair, my rules and regulations, yes, we're allowed to make an amendment if you're the author of the resolution.
Again, do I see any debate for? Seeing none, that will conclude that round of debate. We'll move into the second round of debate, beginning with debate against. Do I see any debate against? Chair Oldham.
Chair Oldham, Community Relations, I move to amend this piece by striking Cornelius and let it be result 6 and inserting Reagan.
Bryce, that's your point of information.
Senator Stern, will you spell, will you spell Reagan? I know there's 2 ways to spell it.
Regan.
Thank you.
Do I see any seconds to this proposed amendment? Seeing a second in the chat as well as multiple seconds on the floor, we will move forward into a period of debate on this amendment to fix the name, let it be further resolved 6. Do I see any debate against on this amendment? Seeing none, do I see any debate for? And seeing none, debate is one-sided, and that will conclude the period of debate on the amendment to replace the previous name with the name Reagan and let it further be resolved 6. I will now move forward with the period of voting. All those in favor, please signify by pressing yes. All those opposed, please signify by pressing no. We're going to go ahead and close voting by a vote of 28-0. That does pass. Chair Oldeg, you just have the floor and debate against. The floor has been yielded to, and we will now move into a period of debate 4. Do I see any debate 4? Seeing none, that will conclude that period of debate. We'll move into the final round of debate, beginning with debate against. Senator Lucas.
Senator Lucas, College of Education. I move to fix the numbering on their alleged results so we do not see them.
And Chair Hahn, just to check the code real quick, the numbering can be fixed by ops later, correct?
Chair Hahn, rules regulation. Yeah, since it's a format thing, the pro temp, whether it's your pro temp, cross declare, you go back in there and fix that so it doesn't need to be minutes.
Senator Lucas, you still have the motion. Fantastic. Floor has been yielded to, and I'm moving into a period of debate 4. Do I see any debate 4? And that will conclude our third and final round of debate. And we'll now move into a period of voting, led by Speaker Pro Tem for Trosper.
Thank you. The form should be open as of now. You guys have until 9:29. Of 9:30.
You were saying like, Yeah, you're
We do have the results of the voting. Could you please cease conversation and take your seats? Pro Tempore Trosclair.
The floor is now closed. 34 in favor, 2 in abstention.
Yay. So with that, XR 7332, the recognition of local elected officials resolution does pass. We will now consider the next piece of legislation, XR 7333. The 21st anniversary bonfire remembrance resolution. I believe the primary author is Senator Bone.
Howdy, Senate. Howdy. This is a resolution commemorating the 21st anniversary of the bonfire collapse. Whereas one, on the morning of November 18, 1999, Fighting Texas Aggie bonfire collapsed at 2:42 a.m., resulting in the tragic loss of 12 Aggies and 27 others injured. And whereas two, from 1907 to 1998, bonfire burned annually, gradually growing from merely a pile of trash to a mountain of logs, representing both the burning desire to beat the hell out of TU and a tangible manifestation of the Aggie spirit. And whereas three, each year tens of thousands of people came to the burning of the bonfire in Aggie, warmed by the fire of burning logs that had been tirelessly cut, loaded, and stacked for months. And whereas four, the Bonfire Memorial, constructed 5 years after the collapse, celebrates the tradition, history, and spirit of Texas A&M, and is dedicated to those involved in the tragic collapse of the 1999 bonfire. Therefore, let it be resolved. 21 years later, all Aggies remember the events that occurred on November 18, 1999, with hearts full of admiration and respect for those lost or injured, and let it be further resolved too. The spirit of the Aggies we lost that morning will be remembered forever. Miranda Denise Adams, class of 02, Christopher D. Green, class of 96, Michael Stephen D. Banks, class of 03, Jeremy Richard Franklin, class of 99, Jamie Lynn Hand, class of 03, Christopher Lee Bird, class of 03, Timothy Duran Curley Jr., class of 03, Lucas John Kimmel, class of 03, Brian A. McLean, class of 02, Chad A. Powell, class of 03, Jerry Von Self, class of 01, Nathan Scott West, class of 02, and let it be further resolved three, Traditions Council, as it has in the past, continues to encourage students to visit the Bonfire Remembrance reflections display in the NSC flag room, as well as the screening of the Burning Desire film in various locations across campus. And let it be further resolved for a copy of this resolution be sent to Chancellor John Sharp, President Michael K. Young, Dr. Daniel J. Pugh Sr., Vice President of Student Affairs, Eric Mendoza, Student Body President, Traditions Council, and Tom. Questions?
Prisoner is open for questions. Are there any questions at this time? And just for the sake of coherency and making sure that everyone is able to participate equally, if you do have a question, please continue to utilize the raised hand tool as opposed to the placards. Chair Sayer.
Chair Sayer, Student Services. Senator Bone, do you plan to make any amendments to this resolution?
Yes, I do, and I will be doing that in the against debate.
Senator Wood.
Senator Wood, College Engineering, would you consider adding on to the letter for the resolve for sending a copy to the families?
I'm open to that if the rest of the Senate body is.
Are there any other questions for our presenter? Seeing none, that will conclude our period of question and answer. And we will move into a period of debate, beginning with debate against. Do I see any debate against at this time? Chair Feldman.
Chair Feldman, Legislative Relations, I move that myself and any other senators as a sponsor to this
Seeing multiple seconds both in the chat as well as in the room. We will move by general consent to add Chair Feldman as well as anyone else who fills out the form on the drive as a sponsor to this piece of legislation. Do I see any objections? Seeing none, that does pass. Chair Feldman, you do still have the floor and debate against.
I will yield my time to Senator Bone.
Senator Bone, we'll have to pause you for just 1 second. Senator Wood with the point of information.
Sorry, Senator Wood, College Engineering. Just going to Chair Hine. Can something be added to let it further be resolved for work for the families without me having to look up every single family? At this point?
Unfortunately not, since that will kind of affect the content rather than the formatting, so it will have to be done with.
I move to amend the motion by, am I able to read it from here? Oh, Senator Bone has made this as copy. How do you do an amendment?
So you already said the right wording for the motion, so now all you gotta do is read what you'd like to change.
Okay. Between let it be further resolved 3 and 4, I want to add one that says, Student Senate applauds the work done by Traditions Council in ensuring that the 21st anniversary bonfire remembrance ceremony at the Bonfire Memorial, which took place November 18th, 2020 at 2:42 a.m., went smoothly and solemnly, especially in such a year of unexpected uncertainties due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Do I copy it in?
I would like to recognize Chair Hine with the point of information.
I got it. Sorry about that.
Do I see any seconds to the motion to amend proposed by Senator Bone? I see multiple seconds. We will move into a period of debate on the amendment to add a let it further be resolved 3, which reads, Student Senate applauds the work done by Traditions Council in ensuring that the 21st anniversary bonfire remembrance ceremony at the Bonfire Memorial, which took place November 18th, 2020 at 2:42 a.m. went smoothly and solemnly, especially in such a year of unexpected uncertainties due to COVID-19 pandemic. Do I see any debate against? Seeing none, is there any debate for? Seeing none, debate is one-sided, and that will conclude our period of debate. And we will now move into a period of voting on this amendment. All those in favor of adding this amendment to this piece of legislation, please signify by clicking yes. All those opposed, please signify by clicking no. Go ahead and close the vote, and by a vote of 34-0, that does pass, and that will be added to that piece of legislation. Senator Bone, you do still have the floor and debate against.
I yield the floor.
The floor has been yielded to. We will now move into period of debate 4. I see any debate 4. Seeing none, we'll move into a second round of debate, beginning with debate against. Do I see any debate against? Seeing none, that does conclude our period of debate, and we will move into a period of debate 4. Do I see any debate 4? Seeing none, debate has become one-sided. That will conclude our period of debate overall. And we'll now move into a period of voting on SR 7333, the 21st anniversary bonfire remembrance resolution, led by Speaker Pro Tem Boris Ross-Clay.
Thank you. The forum is open. Let's go ahead and say it closes at 9:44 this time. Mr. Speaker, the forum is now closed. The votes being in favor 47 to an abstention.
Then by that vote, SR 7334, the November 3rd, 2020 silver tax resolution does pass. We will now move on to consideration of SR 7335, the GLC reallocation approval resolution. I believe Chair Teague is the primary author on this one.
Mr. Speaker, we do have 7334, so that.
Oh, excuse me.
So which I'm also the author.
So we will now consider SR 7334. Excuse me.
Speaker, Chair Chief, Finance. I wrote this alongside former Pro Temp Spur and current Pro Temp Charles Flair, that I'll be handling the reading today. Whereas one, so attached to the sacred time-honored tradition of Texas A&M University to serve on fund for use the student body makes students who have passed through months leading up to the service, and whereas through this solemn tradition was established in 1898 to commemorate the life of Lawrence Holden Rawson has been preserved for over a century, pay homage to those who we've lost since, and whereas as long as Texas A&M University continues to serve and educate those who walk the campus, Silver Caps will remain as a pillar of the Aggie way of life. Therefore, let it be resolved. The Texas A&M University Student Senate recognizes and commends all who have been, are, and will be involved with the preservation and regular facilitation of Silver Caps, and let it be further resolved. 2, Texas A&M University Student Senate gives its sincerest condolences to the families and friends of Amori, Zarik Boydre, and Aaron Noel Novak, and let it be further resolved. 3, Texas A&M University Student Senate joins the rest of the student body in celebrating the life of Amari and Aaron. 4, we are the Aggies are we. And copy of this resolution be sent to the Battalion Tradition Council, and they are kindly asked to send to all the individual families, as well as to Eric Mendoza, student body president. Yield for remainder of my time for questions.
The speaker is open for questions. Are there any questions at this time? Seeing none, that will conclude our period of question and answer. You can take your seat. We will now move into a period of voting, a period of debate, beginning with debate against. Do I see any debate against on this piece of legislation? And again, just for the sake of making sure accessibility stays there, please also put in the chat or on raised hand whenever you move to debate or anything like that. Chair Feldman.
Chair Feldman, Legislative Relations, I move that myself and any of the senators as a sponsor.
Seeing multiple seconds by raising the placard as well as seconds in the chat. We will move by general consent to add Chair Feldman as well as anyone else who fills out the form found on the drive as a sponsor to this piece of legislation. Do I see any objections to general consent? Seeing none, that does pass. Chair Feldman, you do still have the floor in debate against.
I yield the floor.
The floor has been yielded to you. We'll now move into a period of debate 4. Do I see any debate 4 at this time? Seeing none, that will conclude our period of debate 4, and we'll move into our second round of debate, beginning with debate against. Do I see any debate against? Seeing none, debate has become one-sided, and that will conclude our period of debate. We'll move into a period of voting on SR 7334, the November 3rd, 2020 Silver Caps resolution, led by Speaker Pro Tem Trosper.
The form should be open. Y'all have until, let's try to get this by 10 o'clock. Sorry about that. 9:59, thank you. Mr. Speaker, the poll is now closed. 45 votes in favor, none against.
Seeing that vote is complete. SR 7334, November 3rd. We will now consider SR 7335, the GLC reallocation approval resolution, this time for real.
I'll be presenting alongside Executive Vice President Gordon.
Okay, this is the GLC reallocation and approval resolution, whereas one, the COVID-19 pandemic has made long-term planning almost impossible, and
Whereas two, the Global Leadership Conference was originally allocated $1,500 for virtual conference in place of travel to Dallas, and
whereas three, GLC has decided to move their conference from Dallas to College Station to conform to travel restrictions.
therefore let it be resolved, the Texas A&M University Student Senate approves the reallocation of $1,500 from the miscellaneous other category into the programming facility rental / deposit category.
Let it be further resolved, four, a copy of this resolution be sent to Gilbert Leadership Conference, Department of Student Activities County Department, John Perry, Finance Committee Chair, and myself, Executive Vice President. And with that, we are open to questions.
Are there any questions for the presenters? Seeing none, that will conclude our period of question and answer. Y'all may take your seats. I'll move forward with our period of debate, beginning with debate against. Do I see any debate against this piece of legislation? Seeing none, do I see any debate for? Seeing no debate, debate has become one-sided, and that will conclude our period of debate. We'll move into a period of voting on SR 7335, the GLC reallocation approval resolution, led by Speaker Pro Tem Porch Rosklow.
Thank you. The forum is now open at 9:56. Got the math right. It will be closed. Mr. Speaker, the forum is now closed. Votes being in favor, 37 to an abstention.
And by that vote, SR 7335, the GLC reallocation and approval resolution does pass. With that, we will now move into a period of open session. Are there any pieces to be brought forth for open session at this time? Seeing there have not been any added to the drive, that will conclude the period of open session. We will move into a period of special order called by Chair T. This does require a fourth of the people who are present to second this motion. Let's go ahead and for the seconds, just to make sure that we can get a good count. Let's go ahead and if you are in favor and you would like to second, please click yes. If you're not, you can either click no or just click nothing. Please rise to state your point of inquiry.
Senator Wood called June Ring. If they don't click anything, I guess seeing that they're on the Zoom call, do they automatically count as the total and not clicking anything?
Yeah, so since this is just counting seconds, the total is those who are in the room. And we're going to go ahead and close voting. And Chair Hines, do you have the count on how many a fourth would be tonight?
We are working
So since it was 17 seconds, that does mean the one for careful, we can proceed with the vote of confidence.
All right, and that does mean we will proceed with the vote of no confidence. We will enter into, yes, please write such a point of information.
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Yes.
So this technically isn't a vote, therefore you can't really call it a division. Since it's just the seconds to be considered, only divisions can only call on votes.
Correct. Seeing as the chair is out of order, we will proceed again to move into the executive session, meaning that anyone who is not a senator must leave the room. If you're on Zoom, we will put you into a waiting room and bring you back afterwards. For those to our normal agenda and on to committee reports. First, though, I would like to recognize a number of motions. First, a motion from Chair Feldman.
Chair Feldman, legislator, I think Chair Pine was before me.
I'm sorry. Don't need to do this stuff. Thank you. Chair High Rules and Regulations. I move to move all committee reports and the student body executive report and the chief designate executive report to email and move into the speaker of the student senate executive report and then to closing roll call.
Seeing multiple seconds in the chat as well as in the room, we will move by general consent to deviate from the agenda and move committee reports as well as the first two executive reports into email format. Do I see any objections to general consent? Seeing none, that does pass. And we will now move into a period of executive reports, beginning with the one and only executive report happening tonight. And I would like to offer the chair to Speaker Pro Tem for Trostler.
Thank you.
All right, howdy, Senate. Howdy. Well, that was a very long meeting and a very interesting meeting with a lot of different things that are unique happening to welcome us back into Columbus 144. We're going to close out really quickly, so I'm not going to say a whole lot, but I just want to say thank you all for participating so well. I want to say thank you for following the guidelines and for really setting an example for what this can be in the future. As we look towards next spring, we're going to be looking towards how we can most effectively have meetings, whether that's in this hybrid format, whether that's back online. So look out for a survey that we're going to send out on Slack, asking general questions about how tonight was and how tonight was run, so we can make sure that we're the most effective we can be when we get back. With that being said, this was our final meeting of this semester. And with that, I do want to say a couple of things to two people who will not be with us next semester, which is Senator Spur and Senator Wood. Both of them have served very diligently for a very long time. I know both of you are going to go on to incredible things in the future, and I want to thank you for working with us and taking so much out of every day to give back to the students that you represent, because it's incredible. And the amount of time that you've done that. Yeah, one final round of applause. Like I said, this is our final meeting of this semester, so we will not be meeting again until our graduating senior there. And so, as we do this, we are going to move into closing roll call in just a second, and we're going to dismiss. There's going to be some specific ways to do that. We're going to dismiss by rows, beginning with the back two rows. You're going to pack your stuff up, head out these back doors. As you head out these back doors, please remember that we're still practicing social distancing as well as mask guidelines. Even when you walk out of this building, because you are still on campus. So continue to set the example that we've been setting. Enjoy your cars. You don't go outside. We've done a fantastic job tonight. Let's continue that. I know the administration will be proud of what we've done here tonight and the way that we pioneered this hybrid model. So with that being said, that's all I have.
Yes. The closing roll call is open. Should be open. You'll have about 10 minutes to get that done.
Do you want to do questions first?
Oh, yeah. I was okay.
Yes. So you're the chair. Yeah, you got this.
All right. Wait, do I kind of talk?
Yeah, you should.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you all for.
So you're just asking if there's any questions.
There are no questions. I promise I'll be more organized. Are there any questions?
Senator Wood, for the last time. Do you enjoy your position as?
I do. And I'm sitting here looking in your eyes and saying, well done on such a great career, and looking back at what you have accomplished, it makes me enjoy what I do.